Hi everyone, I hope you're well. So while I'm just clearing the energy, I'll do the intro. This is going to be reading on King Charles. It was only a few hours ago that I'd seen, or maybe in the morning, I'd seen, so less than 24 hours, I'd seen that it'd been announced he's got cancer. I don't know how you all felt when you heard that news. I'd love to hear from you, whether it was normal, whether it was whatever it was. For me, it was gut-wrenching. And if you know me, I don't really follow the news. But it was basically, I opened my YouTube and sometimes I just get these thumbnails of news or tabs or something. Now, in my last psychic predictions, I did say there will be continued updates on the royals and further developments, and there will be more to come. I don't know if I said King Charles in particular. I know I gave an example of psychic readers that are saying about Camilla's health, but I think a lot of people were putting energy out there anyway that his reign would be short-lived. And I'm not predicting this right now. I'm not saying that, okay, so he's got cancer, he's not going to win it or anything. But the reason I'm doing this reading is because I've even also had comments of, and you might have seen it with your other tarot readers, and maybe, you know, it's good to follow some that go into that kind of thing, about black magic. Now, in one of my readings of Markle, I mentioned, and if you go back to it, and I mentioned it in the last Catherine reading, or the last world reading, go back to the energy readings and you'll see things that are coming to light, or that I've been saying the person needs to hold on to their energy. There was a card where I was saying there was a psychic involved. So basically there was the High Priestess and there was a couple of other cards, and I said about it. Regardless, there's a lot of tarot readers that are going into what's happening is because of black magic, because what the karma around being a racist, stuff like that for those two royals. And obviously that's selling. I don't know what their views are, but I know from comments I've had. I just cannot be that type of reader that puts out information like that, but you can go back to my readings and you can get clues on where I've stated some stuff. This is actually gut-wrenching for me, and I didn't want to do it because I want to respect his privacy, and I want to respect the amount of energy that is going to be going around on this, and he needs his energy in a good place. Whether you like King Charles or not, and a lot of people don't like him, the only reason is due to Princess Diana, and I'm not saying he was right, no, but you know, we don't need to put hate out there. And the other thing is, just going back to focusing on this, is that when he took over, a lot of people were like, yes, he's waited his whole life on this and he's got it. And I was happy for him, and a lot of it stick about that it was done, so much was spent, etc. But I still felt in his energy when I watched it, a heavy sadness. And he would have still been mourning his mother. And I feel that energy is continued with him. Now also then he's mourning his mother and he's taking up this responsibility. Things are getting in the news and you're not speaking, and you have a responsibility, you've got a role within parameters, and you're not able to maybe defend yourself. If you just think about that for a moment as a person, when we think of the ordinary person that is held and not able to defend themselves, whether they're able to or not, let's take a general, that person is kind of imprisoned, and we have so much empathy for them. Yet we take for granted, and I'm not saying it comes with a cost. Obviously, they've got abundance of money. They don't have to worry about tomorrow. They can do what they want, blah, 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 which is a life that, I mean, they say money doesn't buy happiness, and it doesn't to a certain extent, but it can help you on your mental plane of worry, which impacts your health, impacts your relationships, impacts your fear, impacts a lot of stuff in your life. To a certain extent, it's correct, but to another extent, it's not. It depends what the person's meaning by happiness. But then there's the other side where a lot has been said, and maybe it's true and maybe it's not necessarily true. You can go back to my readings on what I think is true or not. And then you can't say anything. And if we just think of it for a moment, you know, if I were to put these cards here, okay, and let's say, you know, this offends someone to put them here, and I had an opportunity to put them here. Or let's just be more precise so I don't confuse you. I said something that was racist. By the way, I don't believe what was stated is how it's being said, and there's been a lot of twists and turns. I think in the beginning it was thought that the Queen had said, etc., etc. And I've said this before, Meghan Markle's not even that, you know, she's not dark skinned. And I think it's her that's felt dispositioned, that has a sensitivity around this, because she can't bring up the gender role where there's Kate, where there's been a queen. Think of the things that they can bring up. There's not much that could be brought up. Could they bring up that she's American? Yes, but then we've had the Queen who married, and the Prince, I think, was he originally Greek or somewhere? So again, there's only one real option to play on. Now, I just opened again and the thumbnail says Prince Harry is flying to the UK. I'm not sure if it's going to be helpful. It doesn't matter if it's helpful, it's his father. And if he didn't fly to the UK, honestly, it would be evil. Let's just say it. It would be evil. I think you've put your father, and let's say it's his true father, through a lot of pain. And I think what's transpired in his body is actually from grief and sadness, from energies of loss of his mother, energies of, you know, prior to that, maybe being questioned his worth on being a king, energies around Harry and Meghan, energies around not being able to speak his piece and express himself. That's all captured in his body, and it's transpired. I just feel a gut-wrenching sadness that you maybe hear it in my voice. My voice might break because it's reaching my throat. And I'm not someone who is necessarily going to cry over a royal in this situation, but the energy is so sad. His energy is really, really sad. Now, just going back to what I was saying in terms of an example, one person says something racist and the other person didn't like it. And after a few years, there's a whole ramble that comes out in the news that let's say I said something racist, which I would never do. Why at that stage would the other person decide to do black magic on these people when kind of they've caused havoc anyway and they've kept silent? Why wouldn't they do the black magic years ago? Just think about stuff in a bit of a common sense. And I'm not saying there's not dark energies involved. I am not saying that there isn't that, you know, going back to the energy reads, the high priestess, the person I think is doing, that is giving insights, the person that's there, present. I can't remember what I said. I don't want to go into dark energies. But just think about it a little bit. And I know that the people that want to hear that kind of thing maybe not like what I'm saying and still want to rush forward on the black magic thing. In terms of Kate, it's a different story. So here we've got, is that Monarch gonna fail to continue? No, it will continue. But it is a desperate situation. And I can only think that William is really overwhelmed. Now, in one of my last energy reads, I said that it's going to take something, which is exactly this, to bring the boys together. It wasn't going to be a divorce between Meghan and Harry, which will be happening. It will happen. But we don't need to continue to say about it, or necessarily, you know, someone that said it after 1 year of them being married, and I don't know how many years, 7, 8 years that they've been married or some together, and now when it does kind of come true. And by the way, just a thing, if someone has got something latched onto them and someone's dabbling into that, I believe it's Harry that's being controlled. Cannot see clearly. But this is a crucial time because there's it can crumble. It can make, it can really make a person lose themselves even further. I mean, we've all had it when we've gone for a loss. And so yes, Harry should be there. And you know what, if his wife was a wife, she should have flown with him. Regardless. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of hate. And maybe that is the concern, but I don't, you know, I think it is a concern, and it's kind of like, there should be shame to stay behind closed doors. But if your concern is around security, maybe you need to invest in some security if you can get it from the UK, despite, you know, all the dissing that you've done. But let's say in general, you should be there. And like I said, you should never influence your partner to go against their energetic family bond. Because once Harry wakes up, he's going to be traumatized by what he's done, and if he realizes some of this has transpired into his father's health, and it is, some of this has been from him. Now, I think there's going to be some secrets that are discussed with the royal family, and that could be around blood. But regardless, your blood and DNA can be someone, and who you live with in your energetic bond can be someone else as well. It's going to be interesting to see if there's a time period where, you know, a movement back to the UK occurs, and maybe this is an excuse that's used for something that they've wanted. Because where are we on that? They said they wanted to move back to the UK, or was that rumours? I've got no idea, honestly. There's so many flipping rumours going around that you don't know, but then I don't follow the news. And so, you know, I've been in a situation where a relative was crucially ill and they were in hospital. And I hadn't spoken to the relative for a very long time, very dear relative, very close. But regardless, I turned up. And I didn't know if I would be welcomed. But I knew I had to do my part. Look at that. Spirit just told me to split the deck. Magician. And you have to do your part. But the sad thing is, why I'm doing this read as well, don't let it get to crucial stages before you take crucial action. And don't base your actions based on what others do. Tap into your heart. And then with your action of others, let that be your deciding factor on the next action, whether ever to do it again or not do it again. But then, you know, I do come from a background of quite strong morals as well, but I don't necessarily, if it goes against what I'm thinking, it doesn't mean that I play a role, but a strong duty kind of background as well. So, I mean, there's more that I probably want to say, but let's get into the tarot. Let's respect the king's privacy during this time, and at least if we want to send energy, for it not to be energy that's negative. If we think of people that are not able to express themselves, this goes for Catherine as well, you know, Princess of Wales. Think of William, his wife. And by the way, I mentioned in a couple of readings about Princess of Wales before this, before what I predicted, about her health, about her appearance, and you can go into that as well. I knew that William would have to step up for some time, and that's why I didn't think there would be a baby in you know, at least towards the end of the year or into the next year. But then I said that the energy depended on this because there was a timeout that needed to happen. And again, that's something else that is, there's no communication, and there's communication around the king, but there's nothing around the Princess of Wales. Or I haven't seen it, so it might be in the news. You know, it might be that she's, I don't know if they said about hysterectomy, whatever they said, but I've mentioned what I was getting psychically. And previous to that, her health. Now, William I felt at the time, is going to really have to step up. And it might be that he needs to cancel some of the stuff to step up to the role, but now his father's not well. And before this news is announced, you'll need to understand that I think they knew, and there was a deciding factor to release it into the news. So it's not like it's released into the news and he was just told, or the family was just told. Now, regardless, this might be a reason for King Charles to abduct, and William, either at the moment for King Charles to stay and William starts getting King Charles starts, I think this already happened in terms of the training and stuff. Or, you know, the developing. And people say he's only 40, but yes, it's not old, but he's lived enough to know. And if he can get his unity with Catherine, Princess of Wales, on board, which might come into unity a bit better due to the overwhelm and the response, and also his father, where it bonds them again together a lot more. Understand that however it comes across. Let's get into the reading before the storage on my camera goes. Bottom of the deck, impasse, a rerouting of journey. Going one way and then suddenly there's a block and you need to reroute. Obtaining being a king. I don't know if you can see that, sorry. Obtaining being a king. Health. Needing to reroute. The monarch, or, you know, either staying in that role or not. Then we had balance. He needs to balance his health. He needs to balance his energy right now. He needs to balance what he gets involved in. He needs to balance not depleting himself. Really, really important. I feel he also needs to balance the relationships around him and his emotions in those relationships, because it's important that the sadness within his energy is balanced. I feel that there's going to be some wisdom. I feel that he's going to be having a lot of spirit intervention, maybe from the Queen. I presume that a lot of people would say Diana, Princess Diana. I think a lot of people are going to say that he's going to be half here and half in the next land. You know, when people start to say about transitioning, and people are already putting him on his deathbed. And with the sadness I felt in the Monarch when he took the reign and in his current energy, I don't want to say further on that. But there is health matters here. There is a bit of self-neglect where he needs to get the support now. Honouring his values, and if he is able to express his truth, to express his truth, even if it's within the relationships internally without actually in the media. So if it means giving his true voice to Harry, he needs to tell him whatever it does, because maybe, I don't know how he has been with Harry. I know that Harry says that he was quite tough when he was younger, but in the current situation, he needs to be with his trickery honest. Honest around the trickery. Honest and not being afraid to tell the truth. Honest and not fear. You know, either needing to say stuff in a certain way because of manipulation or the manipulation of others, but knowing what they need to say. And I was saying it. It's translated in his health. It's a vulnerable heart. It's self-honesty. Making sure that you're not accusing others as well at the same time. There's the wisdom. I think he's going to be getting spirit signs. I think he's going to be having support. I just feel like he's going to get a lot of downloads during this time that he's not ever had in his life. And then we have impartiality and creation. Heart chakra, third eye, crown chakra. Heart and third eye, very important. Impartiality, stay neutral. Maybe William and Harry will be in fights, and he knows that he needs to stay neutral so that he keeps, well, not, how can I say that? He needs to do this in a way where he tries to bond them back together, just so that there's no disharmony left while he doesn't have energy to give or left behind. So how can he step back from the present situation and allow them to have it out with each other? How can he step back from the present situation of everything and the media and the energies and everything and focus on himself and his health? Allowing things to unfold. Being guided. Being open-minded. And being fair. A lot of listening and observing during this time. And I think he's going to try, and even if it comes on himself from what he truly believes, maybe around Harry, I think he's going to try and harmonize their relationship so that it's not leaving, whether he's here or not, whether he recovers fully, bonding that relationship again, for them to bond it, even if he feels that it's done with Harry, which will leave a big mark on him, and it has. And again, he's alive, and I'm not predicting anything. Understand it how you understand what I'm saying. I don't like to predict certain stuff, but you can understand what I'm stating. And this reading is a healing. This reading is to make sure energies respect him during this time and just refocus on why there's hate. Is it worth sending this king hate? The creation is expressing your love in a tangible art form. It's time to make those decisions. It's time for him to speak. Being open to the signs he's receiving, and if needed, take action on them. An awakening to creativity. Finding his muse during this time so that his energy gathers, so he has more positive to help his health. Finding his muse and not getting caught up in other stuff. And the redirection that will be happening with the monarch. Okay. Right, I'm going to go into, because I don't know the space on the camera, I'm going to go into how does Camilla feel, and then I'll go into the boys, and then I'll go back to him or anyone else, all right? Maybe it'd be a part 2 where I ask about Diana as well. There's definitely going to be discussions about Camilla's role and title if anything happens further down the line, which are discussions that are natural, whether it's in 2 years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. The first card that popped out, let's just put these aside so we know what they are. The first card that popped out in terms of how does Camilla feel, the Knight of Cups. She's by him, offering him the love at this moment in time. 10 of Wands, feeling quite heavy burdened. There's the responsibility here. There's a heavy responsibility. probably not knowing which right direction to run in, but sometimes taking sharp, unthought of actions that could be hasty, and she needs to hone that in. At the moment, there's a lot of attention around this. And I hope she doesn't just take this, and I can't feel that in her energy, as an opportunity to be in the limelight a little bit more, whether it's perhaps taking her picture, going to the hospital, I don't know if that's happening, but not necessarily enjoying it, being from the heart center. But there's a lot of attention. I feel what it is a lot of attention in the media in general on this. And the attention needs to be not because I want to sell on YouTube, not because I want my news channel on BBC to go or my podcast, blah, blah, blah. People need to be more authentic, more loving, and spread better energy. She does feel tied up. She feels tied up at this moment in time. She feels she's not sure how to help the situation. She feels blinded by what is coming. What is next? Can I face what's next? Regardless, it's a journey. Even if someone makes a recovery, there's a heavy journey. And it's not about recovering from cancer. It's about, like I said, I do energy reading, I do energy healing. It's about if he can hold and let go of that energy of sadness that I feel within him. That's the main thing, of helping him absorb the treatment and the recovery. Sometimes feeling she knows what action to take, but because of the overburden, the responsibility, she can be a bit hasty. I don't know what her sign is, but then other times she's feeling really trapped. And not really wanting to face it. The Wheel of Fortune. The Ace of Wands. The Justice, this was second, sorry. The Eight of Pentacles and the Justice card. Hoping that wheel turns, makes a turn for the better, makes a turn for a new beginning. The igniting of a new start, of energy, good energy. Hoping for the karmic balance of justice within a situation, within this situation. Holding the light where she can. At times feeling that she might be alone to do some of the work. And sometimes she might feel she might need that alone time. For where I said Charles needs to find his muse during this time to disconnect and keep his energy to himself and regroup that energy to transform it in a better than the sadness. Finding her time where there's something about the astrological time here as well. Now I know that he became king on it was really weird. It was, what was it, a retrograde, and there was a lunar eclipse. There's something here that's just come to me about astrology, and I don't know if she's interested in even like stargazing, and there's something about the astrological time in this. But also finding her muse to keep her busy. And I think she's trying to do that certain times, maybe throughout the day, to keep isolated in her own space. A karmic balance coming in. peacefully trying to move away from anything that's, you know, just been burdensome in terms of the energies, in terms of people even. Getting mental clarity where needed. Keeping her mental agility sharp and focused. Ensuring the communication that goes out there, either from her or that needs to go out there, on behalf of the king or whoever, is the right communication that keeps the peaceful movement forward instead of it being drama. 6 of Cups. Devil at the bottom of the deck. She might feel at a certain stage that she feels quite dependent on him. And it might trigger past memories, but feeling like it's her soulmate. Now I say that, but there's an energy here where her energy is very hard to read, Camilla, by the way. I've never done a reading on her and I think it'd be good to. It's a time that she needs to look after her soulmate. But something about it is also not neglecting her inner child, her past, where wounds might come up that she then understands. Let me just check the camera is recording. I might have to actually go on to the next person or do a part 2. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do a part 2. So we'll put more for Prince William, Prince Harry. We'll do another part. Let me just pull more cards to ask something. Does she feel hopeful in this situation? Now the Magician I think fell out upright, but when I grabbed it up, put the cards and it was in reverse, which is unfocused energy that I'm feeling for her. Blocked creativity. Energy not going in the right direction. She's hoping for that Wheel of Fortune and the new energy to come in. A balance of energies. Knowing that the energy of taking action and involved in the king being in his role and the energy of him needing to really focus on his treatment is definitely needed. For this to be up in the upright. Archangel Michael. One and 4, 5. Wanting that change. Is she feeling hopeful? There's a moderation of a masculine and feminine energy that needs to be balanced. Patience. purpose, perpetual motion of life. Her hope, I feel, is sometimes really strong, and sometimes with the Magician in reverse, she's not sure. I feel like she does feel that there's a spirit or an angel around, whether it's her or Prince Charles. Knowing that there'll be obstacles along the way, but continuing to have faith. Maybe this could also be tapping into prayer and the faith of the angels. Not getting caught up in fear. Knowing there's challenging decisions ahead. There's going to be need of give and take in a lot of situations. That doesn't mean just with King Charles, but in energy, in situations of her role. Maybe it's her time to give to Charles. She's received a lot. Maybe it's her time to step up. Be that divine feminine support. Not get involved, remember I said about the external conflict, or delusioned and confused about things upon the journey. Again, in fear, being blinded. So I'm going to stop this here, and I will do Prince William and Prince Harry. It might not be tonight, it might be tomorrow. If you're catching this on the day it's uploaded, great. There's 4 signs for Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. Your readings are done and will be uploaded. Remember, those that support the readings with the most views, likes, shares, comments, you might get channel bonus readings. Do catch them. There's predictions in those. It's not just tarot. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, let me know. Comment, like, and I'm going to do a part 2. So stay tuned for that. Take care and bye for now.